Hey, what's up my fellow golf ball addicts? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are reviewing one that's been very highly requested, which is the Wilson Duo Soft 2025 with, is that an alignment aid, a 360? Let's dive right in. Guys, as always, if you love this content, please like, comment, subscribe. Anything you can do to help the algorithm out, anything you can help me out. If you really like this content, we have a membership that just starts at $1 a month. It really helps the channel grow. And also, we do have merchandise as well. You can click that link in the description. So we have some of that also. The Wilson Duo. Great ball. Love Wilson on this channel. Wilson has, a dozen golf balls. A lot of them are $1 a golf ball. They're Walmart balls, whatever. But they always test really well. And so a lot of people really love Wilson. They're very underrated. This is kind of their flagship two-piece model, which is the Duo, which they have rebranded over the years. They've had the Duo Soft, the Duo, the matte colored ones. They've really just gone all over the place. And this one, they kind of took a step back. And so far, I really like what they've done with the design features. It's really just going to be about whether the performance still holds up. So, all right, so these come at a price point of $22.99 a dozen, which that is kind of a mid-range. I mean, like I talked about in a couple previous videos, $25 is kind of the top of the market for a two-piece like this right now for a AAA ball. $22.99 is kind of that, mid-range. But let's get into the design of this. Now, one thing I like already, looking at the front, this is the Wilson logo that, it might just be my favorite. It's top three for sure, but I love it. It's that, shield with the, the line through it. It's very classy, sophisticated. It screams, just victory. And, Wilson's won so many championships over the last 100 years. I love that a lot. I see it. It really is something that gives me confidence. I think it's just very simplistic, but my goodness, I love that Wilson logo. The fact that they brought it to this golf ball is nice because this used to be reserved only for their Wilson staff golf balls. I like the fact that now they made it look less cheap and they made it look a little bit more premium despite just being a two-piece. Now don't get me wrong, it definitely does feel like an inexpensive two-piece. It doesn't have that premium shine, that premium depth, that nice soft feel like the Wilson staff model do. Like when you pick one of those up and you feel it and look at it, you go, oh my goodness, that's premium. This one is kind of plasticky. It is kind of cheap. I expect it to be. No big deal. It's a little more plasticky than I thought it would be, but oh well, no big deal. Now the big talking point about this golf ball in particular is the alignment tool. So Wilson now on board with that, and they did a 360 line here, as you can see. Black on the outside, red in the middle, and then just has Duo Soft in the middle. Very excellent, simplistic. When it comes to, what other companies are doing, this doesn't really reinvent it or change the game, but it's nice that they added it because a lot of people really benefit from this. Putting golf balls down like this and putting with them, chipping with them, it gives you so much feedback, when you're practicing, and then when you get to the course itself, it really does let you know whether or not you mishit a putt or whether you just misread the green, and that's very important for beginner and intermediate golfers. And without further ado, let's get out to the chipping and putting green and let's see how it does around there. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness, so much bouncy ball effect. I mean, I barely put anything on that and it just sprung like a rocket and no spin, zero spin. Usually when I use the term, bouncy ball or, something like that, it's supposed to be a metaphor. Not the case here. If I was to close my eyes and you were to put down this golf ball, I would guess that it's just a bouncy ball and you were trying to fool me. Like, there's no feedback in the hands. There is so much spring to it. I mean, that first shot, as you saw, was so far past the hole because I didn't expect it to go that much. I was just doing a little, putting motion with my shoulders and it just sprung 10, 20 feet past the hole. There's no spin. I would say 10% there, and that's only if you try to really get it. If you hit a low spin or if you open the face and really cut it, you can get it to kind of have a little reaction, but that's it. It is very, very low spin. It's basically just, it's A and B. It's black and white. It's cut and dry. Boom, boom, roll toward the hole. There's no rotation on that ball. There's no bite. There's no checkup. Kind of what I would expect a two-piece golf ball to do. All right, 37 compression with a mallet putter. Yeah, can't wait to see how this is. Okay, so mallet putter, it's exactly as you'd expect. With a golf ball with this low of compression, there is a lot of bouncy ball effect. The true roll is like a 7 out of 10. I struggle to call it a 6 out of 10 because, again, every time you're getting that chug effect, which is where it just springs off really hot. It has to kind of adjust. It's not terrible, but with a mallet putter, a thick, heavy mallet putter, you're gonna see an inconsistent roll pretty regularly, and distance control is a little all over the place because, again, there's so much power. It was a learning curve. I had to kind of hit a few to really get used to, okay, this golf ball springs off an extra 4 or 5 feet compared to a normal golf ball like I test. So it's different. I'm not saying it's necessarily bad. You can get used to it, but there's a huge learning curve there. There's no sound, there's no feedback. It is just completely dead. It's very bouncy ballish, just like with the Wedge. All right, blade putter. Let's see if this one's any better. You know, I thought it was going to be a little different with the blade putter, but it just isn't. There is a small sound now, and that's just because of the you know, it's so much, there's no forgiveness here. So of course you're going to hear that, and especially with the metal it's made of. It's dead. It doesn't have a true roll, no feedback in the hands, barely any sound. It's basically the same. It's not for me. I don't like that type of sound. I don't like that type of feedback. I like to have a little bit more crispiness, you know, around the green, but again, it's something you can get used to, but I think a lot of you are going to be turned off by that. There's just nothing spectacular about it. Yeah, so it definitely feels soft. I mean, I'll give it that for sure. Nothing special about it. You know, pure hits are like a 3 out of 5, and that's being nice. There's really nothing that stands out to me at all. I definitely on miss hits like it a lot as well. I'd call it a 3 out of 5 on miss hits. It's just so soft. It does have a little bit of added forgiveness there as well. The forgiveness is nice because it's so soft. That's the benefit of playing something with this level of compression, is even if you miss hit it, you're still going to get pretty much the same distance, which is nice. I just wish it had a little bit different of a feeling. You know, Wilson balls always have a little bit of uniqueness, even in their dollar per golf balls. They always are at least a little bit unique feeling. This one was just kind of, I don't know, it's just too mushy. There's just too much marshmallow. It kind of reminds me of the Callaway Super Soft a little bit, but instead of just being dead and just coming off with no spring, it comes off with a lot of spring. That's not the issue, but there's just no feedback. There's no feedback in the hands. I mean, a pure hit doesn't feel like a pure hit. You know, it doesn't put a smile on my face. I don't go, oh, that's the one, baby, and I look up. No, I mean, a pure hit, I'm kind of like, was that a pure hit? I don't, oh, okay, yeah, it was, okay. I don't like that. I like to know when my pure hits are good. All right, let's talk some data numbers. First of all, we're gonna go backspin RPM on the 50-yard pitch. So we have 7,760 on your backspin RPM, which is below average. And I know a lot of you are gonna be like, oh, well, yeah, of course it's below average. You know, it's a two-piece. I don't expect it to rip back. We've tested other two-piece golf balls that have very consistently. The Top Flight Gamer was one that had a ton of rip back, which was really from left field. That was a surprise. But the Titleist TrueFeel we tested a week or two ago, that one had over 8,000. It was above average. So it is a little disappointing to have that below average. I would have expected it to be a little closer. 300 RPM isn't the end of the world, but it's definitely a huge difference for sure. Getting into the pitching wedge, we have 125.8, which is 4 yards better than average. Awesome. 126.7, awesome. 96.9 on your ball speed, which is way above average. Awesome. And then, unfortunately, you see the spin there, and now you know why those distance numbers are the way they are. 6,393 is abysmally low, and it's basically going to make it to where it's going to be very hard to stick a green. So that's why you're also getting that extra distance. 1.23 on your smash factor, that's above average. 22.2, that's actually a low launch. That's actually significantly low, so interesting enough there. Those numbers are kind of a wash. They end up kind of okay. I loved the ball speed and the distance and the pop. That's all great, but when you have such ridiculously low spin, which that's the lowest I've seen so far in Season 5, when you have that low, well, yeah, of course you're getting extra distance because the ball's not spinning. So, yeah, of course you get that, but I would rather have 2 or 3 yards less and be able to hold a green a little bit better. And because this is kind of plasticky and it's not that urethane cover, it's not going to have as much grip. And so you might find yourself seeing the ball roll to the back of the green here and there. 7-iron, 166, that is, wow, that's awesome. 168.9, again, a gain of 5 yards over my average. 116.3, excellent ball speed. But again, 5,070 on your spin, that is 500 RPM below my average. that's going to be very difficult to stick any green, unfortunately. So 1.38, that's going to be average. 16.9, again, a low launch. So I like the consistency there. I like the fact that it is launching low consistently. I like that I'm getting really good ball speed, really good distance, but unfortunately that spin is going to turn some people off. If the spin doesn't bother you, if you play on a course that's championship, big giant greens, you don't got to stick them, you just want to land somewhere on it and let it roll, it's no big deal, then yeah, this will work. But if you're someone who plays residential courses or tighter courses and they have small greens, it's going to be very, very difficult to stick one with this. That's really, really low spin, and I imagine it's going to turn a lot of you off. Getting into the driver, we have 221.2, which that is below average. I imagine I'm going to over compress it now just because it's so soft, so that makes sense. 229.5, about 3 yards below average. 137.6, that's below average. 2,341, so, oh, now the ball spins a decent amount. Okay, yeah, there you go, on the one club I didn't want it to. 1.41, that's a low smash factor. 16.7, that's about a mid-launch. So the big problem with that right there is, again, I'm starting to over-compress it. I lost distance. Yeah, unfortunately, I do like the consistency in the launch, which is nice, but now the spin's kind of all over the place. Yeah, really disappointing there. You know, I understand I'm over-compressing it at this point, but boy, I don't have a lot of good numbers from that test, unfortunately. I wish it had done just a little bit better. All right, so let's talk some dispersion and accuracy real quick. Let's pull this up. Now, first of all, I got to give the Wilson duo some serious credit because that 50-yard pitch is by far the tightest, most beautiful dispersion and accuracy circle I've seen so far. Look at that. That is incredible. Right on the line. Just boom, 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 boom. That's called throwing darts, ladies and gentlemen, right there. That is just pure class. That is just, oh my goodness, I love it. Getting into the pitching wedge, as you can see, not bad. It looks like all those would kind of hit a green. I doubt any of them would stick it, but it's okay. It's a 3 out of 5. It's not great or anything, but it definitely gets the job done. There's one I pushed way out there right. If you eliminate that one, it actually is pretty decent. Getting into the 7-iron, the distance control is really good. I like that, but the actual accuracy, it's kind of all over the place. But, you know, again, it would come close to the green. It's average, 3 out of 5, something like that. Then getting into the driver, again, love the distance control. Distance control with this golf ball is really good, I can tell you that. But looking at all over the place, it's kind of sporadic, but that's actually pretty good for the driver. I'd call it like a 4 out of 5 on the driver there. It's not bad at all. So, you know, overall, looking at those numbers, I'm kind of impressed. That's actually really good. Now, granted, I just got done doing the Bridgestone E12 series, which I don't know if I've released that one yet, but you'll find out. I just won't say anything. But that kind of gives this ball an edge, and so now I'm looking at these thinking, hey, this is not bad, and it definitely gets the job done. All right, let's get into durability real quick. And unfortunately, I wish I had a little bit of better news for you, but this golf ball is pretty mangled. Looking at it there, you can see all kinds of chips in the paint. You know, you can see some scratches, abrasions. Looking at the 360 line, you can see there's just paint missing all over the place. It's really scuffed up. You know, visually, it's just, it's rough, but then if you feel it and you feel all that sandpaper, ooh, yeah, that's bad. Yeah, if I feel it, it's close to a 4 out of 10. I'll be nice and give it a 5 out of 10 because it's close, but that's just not good. I would really expect more from Wilson. That's pretty mangled after only 75, 80 shots. What a shame. All right, so who's this golf ball for? Does it have a market? Let's go from the average swinger perspective first, which is how I test golf balls. If you're viewing it from that standpoint, no, it doesn't have a market. Stay away from this one. There's no reason at all to pick this golf ball up and play it. There just isn't. There's too much competition. There's too many other great options. Now, if you're someone who is a slower swinger, it could possibly be for you. And I only say that because I did get some really good ball speed with the pitching wedge. I did get some really great, you know, ball speed with the 7-iron. That leads me to believe that this golf ball is probably extremely low compression. Wilson with this golf ball in the past has been like 29, world's softest compression. And usually what happens when that's the case is that the golf ball's for a super senior. It's for someone swinging 75 mile an hour, 70, 75, 80 is kind of getting borderline. So me at 95 is just way too fast, you know, over compressing it. So I would say, you know, if you're 85 mile an hour and lower, it could be worth a try if you're a Wilson loyalist and you do like the 360, you know, design and you like that. But there's just not a lot of data or metrics here that I can pull and say, oh yeah, no, you got to try this one because, or oh yeah, this is the one that has to be top on your list because, and there's just none of that, unfortunately. I do like the design, it's awesome, but not great durability. some really bad spin, I don't think you're going to be able to hold a green. I just don't. I mean, having a little bit of spin off's not a big deal, but when you're talking like 500, 600 RPM per club, that's the difference between bam, 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 stop, and bam, 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 just roll. And that roll is going to hurt a lot of you, and it's going to really turn you off, because I see more comments on that than anything. I got to have a ball that sticks to the green. I got to have a ball that checks up. And although most of the time I don't think you guys need as much spin as you say you do, you need more than this, that's for sure. You got to at least be able to hang on to the green. I mean, being on the back of the green and putting is still better than just rolling off, and I don't know that this one won't roll off. Guys, as always, keep watching, keep saving, keep learning. Until next time.